Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, thank you. Welcome everyone to the March East Lampeter Township Emergency Service Committee. We'll call the meeting to order at this date and time, and I'll ask you to join me in standing and for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. And if we could start around the circle here, introduce ourselves. Dave, you mind starting there?
Dave Keynes, I'm the fire chief at Lafayette Fire Company. I'm the alternate for the Emergency Services Committee.
Rick Kramer, fire chief for Whitmer Fire Company. I'm the alternate for the ESC as well.
And Chad Engler, the citizen rep for Whitmer.
John Peterson, I'm citizen rep Burton.
Eric Bergstrom, citizen rep for Lafayette.
Paul Fisher, the delegate for Burton.
Roger Root, East Lampeter Township supervisor.
I'm Stephanie Johnson, and I'm new to the committee. I'm a citizen representative.
Welcome.
Stephanie.
I'm Sarah Hitchens, assistant manager here at the township.
Ralph Hutchison, township manager.
Okay, and then if we could go to the screen, who do we all have with us remotely?
April.
Okay. Dave, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Melanie?
Yes, I can hear you.
And it looks like Don's Don's with us as well from Burton. Okay, so we'll get to the next order of business here, which is approval of the minutes of the January 18th, 2024 regular meeting. Did everyone get a copy of those and have a chance to look at those? Are there any comments, questions, corrections? Yes, Dave.
As far as attendance goes, I was not in attendance. So if you would remove me from the attendance. At the end, there's a public comment that I'm also noted, which
why am I not seeing that?
I have 1:18:24 minutes.
Yeah, I have an attendance from. Okay. We need to break that, and then I see that public comment under B to be struck as well. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Are there any other corrections, additions or corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve them with those two changes? Motion by Eric. Second by Mike. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of approving them, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, they're approved. Thank you. Old business. Reports from Fire Apparatus Replacement Committee, starting with hand in hand for the engine. And it's still on there for 2026. At this point, I really have no updates. Don't really expect anything to change for quite a while. So I don't really have anything to report there this evening. Second item there, Lafayette for the ladder truck. Dave.
Jason sent me a note there. Just a second.
Yeah.
The truck update. He has we developed a neutral spec, put it out for bids to E1 and Pierce and Seagrave. Seagrave had some limitations and was high on the preliminary numbers that we had originally received. The two bids that we're considering are the E1 and the Pierce model apparatus. The bids are within $20,000 of each other, and that does not take any discounts into consideration. When we talk about the Pierce, we're at $1.78 million. You can achieve up to $228,000 in discounts with prepays. We would have to front some of the money in order for that to happen, and it's a 4-year lead time. So we're looking at a 2028 delivery for the Pierce apparatus. The E1 is at 1.79 million. No deposit is required, and you don't have to pay anything until delivery. So the committee is looking at bringing their recommendations to the board at Lafayette for approval in the next 1 to 3 months, and anticipate that the bodies to approve and present it, make a presentation to the ESC either in May or June. I'm sorry, May or July. The lead time on the E1 is 36 months. So we would be looking at a 2027 delivery. As far as the financing for apparatus goes, we currently have about $250,000 saved up towards the new truck. We're just started a capital campaign, just getting that off the ground. And we will recoup some of the value for the existing truck once we split the proceeds of the sale as a return to the township. Any balance that we would not raise enough of funds through the capital campaign, we would have to put into the 2% state loan. Anticipate our engine 63-2 would be paid off before we would have to start a new loan with the ladder truck. So right now we're hopeful for the capital campaign, and honestly, we're leaning towards the E1 apparatus due to lead time, and there are some other other technological enhancements that the Pierce does not offer.
Okay, thank you for that, Dave. Does anybody have any questions for Dave or Lafayette?
So when we put money down, say you make the decision and everybody approves it, once you put the money down, the price is locked, right?
Yes.
But it's variable up until the time the price is locked, right?
Yes, correct. So I think that the apparatus manufacturers, they're trying to take a look out 3 or 4 years, and they're pricing it that way. I can tell you, in order to garnish the discounts with the Pierce unit, yeah, you can get $228,000 in savings if you pay everything up front, and you can get a loan, roll loan, I'll call it, for 100% of the value. The thing that happens over that 3 or 4 years time is that you're going to pay the interest. So the interest, what we calculated was actually $256,000. So you're not really saving anything. In the very end, you're paying an additional 25. The E1 is much more attractive to us, but a decision hasn't been made on that unit yet.
It sounds like a similar calculation to what we just went through. I think ESC just went through with our apparatus as well. Hutch, remind me, what's the process here in terms of the ESC's interaction with this, in terms of at what point do the specs get sent out to the other fire companies for their review and feedback here? Is that before or after the presentation's made, and how is that process supposed to work? Remember?
It should happen before the fire company decides which manufacturer they're going with.
Yeah. Is that something you were planning on sending out soon?
I'm not in charge of the committee, but I've been coaching them, and my coaching to them was pick a manufacturer, get your presentation together, and then we send it out to the 4 fire companies or the other 3 fire companies for review before the presentation comes to the ESC.
I just want to make sure that we're actually meeting the requirements of the apparatus plan that we agreed to with the township. So
yeah, I do have that on my mind. So I am coaching them to make sure that we have input from all parties beforehand.
All right. Any other questions for Dave? And
Just one more is what are we learning and this is for both in terms of the cost of equipment going up? What are you seeing year over year in terms of?
Historically, it's been about 3% a year, but I can tell you that from when we purchased this apparatus back in 2007 and now, it's double the cost. So in a 20-year, if we're gonna stay with the 20-year apparatus replacement plan, I think anything that's in there, we basically have to double the cost of what the previous cost was.
So at 20 years compounded, you're looking between 3 and 4% basically for, if you compound that annually. So, and I think that's similar to what we were at too. I think maybe just slightly ahead of that, but yeah, we're out 26, 27 years from what replaced hours. I think it was very similar in terms of that. And I think the last probably 3 years that it accelerated in terms of the, the amount that it's going up definitely has increased since the post-COVID thing, just like just about everything else has. But so
One thing about that, the Seagrape, I shouldn't mention manufacturers, but I know that Lampeter is going through this process where they signed off on it, and now Seagrape has come back and told them they can't honor that price, and they had a $100,000 upcharge. And that is the only manufacturer that I've heard of that's actually coming back to the purchasers and increasing the price.
heard that with Seagrape with another, with that same manufacturer with another company as well. I don't know what that contract looked like. It seems to me that that would be interesting to look at, but I guess that's not really, doesn't affect us, not really our problem. But it seems like, yeah, I thought that was the whole purpose of the contract, was to agree on price and specs and all that. So it seems a little strange.
Agree.
Okay, anything else? We'll move on to the next item. All right, thank you for that, Dave. And we'll get into item B, subcommittee reports. Public information subcommittee. Is there anyone here other than myself? Don't think so. That's on that committee. I can give a little bit of an update. So we submitted our latest flyer or newsletter information to the township here a week or two ago. And it was for, the article is going to it's going to be a 2-page article. I think it'll be mainly featuring the Camp Cadet program that is happening in the township, and then also the intern program that they're doing with I think it was with the high school. So, and then there's some other information in there, events that are coming up and some things like that. But that was kind of the primary focus of it, to try to make a push for getting some involvement, recruitment, and retention on those 2 items. So I don't know. I didn't check my mail. They might have already been mailed. They probably mailed them, or is that?
No,
That's April.
Yeah,
April.
the box is the middle of
So it'll
April.
be a little while yet to do. So we I think that one's pretty well finished. The next one that we're planning on working on will be planning on doing a feature story on the 4 township fire company firefighters of the year. They just gave out the awards here earlier this week. I think the supervisors did. So we're planning on contacting each of those 4 firefighters, doing a little bit of an interview with them, and then put some content in about that. I thought that'd be a good kind of a way to connect with the public and put faces and names to this abstract, fire service in some sense. Or so. And then we've got a couple other ideas on the drawing board for later in the year, but those are that's kind of the next focus. So. Any questions, comments, feedback on that? We have another meeting scheduled. I don't have the date in front of me here, but we'll be meeting again, trying to get this one. Should be fairly easy to do it in advance. We kind of ran right up to the wire again with this one, but there was some last minute changes to some of the dates. So it's, yeah, it is what it is. But okay, then we'll go to the next subcommittee report, and that is on finance. Who's here? That was at the finance committee meeting. Donna, Hutch, and I think myself. Who wants to give a report on finance? You want to go ahead, Donna, and give us an update?
We're still working on the apparatus replacement. There's another new idea coming through that we discussed. And that would be going over the schedule again. And it's a good time to do it because a full rotation has been done for all 4 fire companies at this time. So everybody would start with the new concept. If it goes, Beth and Paul are working on the rotation right now. It's meeting.
Okay.
Just add.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of discussion about, do we want specifics about what we're talking about? Yeah. Okay.
We can.
What we're looking at is keeping an engine for every company at 60% and upping the percentage for a specialty piece. And that percentage has not been specified yet. There's they're gonna work on numbers and look at what it is compared to what we did. And then take out the squat. So each company would get 2 pieces, a higher percentage for their specialty piece. And no squat. And everybody has, like I said, gone through the rotation, got their 3 pieces replaced with the township.
So we're planning on creating kind of a spreadsheet for that as well, and then the committee's gonna look at both of it and circulate, look at that one, compare the numbers, see what we think would make the most sense, and then at that point, it should be hopefully ready before too long, I think, to bring to this committee. And then the other piece that was discussed, I think, at that meeting was Lafayette's Representative Mike, last name slips my mind here now, but he was, we had asked him to present some, I'm sorry.
Orelli.
We had asked him to do a little bit of research on the operators. So it's kind of, we're looking at 2 different parts, and one is the apparatus part of the funding, and the other one is the operating expenses, because that's already what we're getting from the township. And so he pulled together some figures there in terms of what it would look like in terms of raising more funds there, be it through a tax or other things. It was the first showing of that. I think we all need a little time to digest that. We want to go back and get some feedback from our companies, and then I'm sure that'll be on the agenda for our next meeting, which will be the first Thursday of the month. We've been meeting every month, so yeah. Is there anything else missing?
I was just gonna say that the committee is scheduled to meet the first Thursday every month.
And I don't know if we've discussed this before or not. If other parties are interested, it's an open meeting for the HR and the finance. So if anybody else here that wants to participate, they're more than welcome to join us. So they kind of ask each company to have 2 people, but yeah, if anybody else wants to sit in on the meetings, they're more welcome to do that. So, any questions on finance subcommittee?
I've just been giving my feedback to Jason, that's all.
Yeah.
Rather than have too many people in the meeting.
Sure. Yeah, I think we're having good discussions. So. Okay, then we'll go to, I think, the last subcommittee we have right now, and that is human resources / volunteers. Eric, can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, we met last Thursday, and about 11 people there representing all the fire companies. And probably going to be meeting again before this meeting next time to go over some things. Some of the key points, talk about mutual aid, daytime staffing agreements and that, putting a draft of that together so that can be shared with the chiefs and then shared with the township. But they're basically a draft of what an MAA would look like. And the goal is to get that out to the chiefs to review prior to our next meeting. Also looking at data collection and data entry to be able to look at what's going on activity-wise in each of the 4 fire companies. And Brad Bell's been kind of championing that and been working with and is the point person for each of the fire companies, do some data collecting and data analysis about activities and that kind of thing. Talk a little bit about the length of service program that some places have. We're talking Joey, who's on the shows up, Joe Smith. Joey Smith is actually is a recipient of LOSAP when he was in New York as a volunteer. And so continuing to do research on that, looking at what's going on there, hearing more and more about some of those kinds of things going on. I was somewhere today and I heard somebody talking about that. I think down in Maryland, we were talking a little bit about it. And then fire company events, we were thinking about trying to find a way to get more of the fire company events on the township calendar. There's links to the fire companies on the township calendar, but maybe actually having events on the township calendar so that it gets a broader scope of observation from people that are looking at the township calendar. And then we had some open discussion. What's worked best in terms of volunteering. What we're finding is more and more, the smaller, shorter timeframes for people to volunteer, people getting comfortable with an area where they volunteer and continue to volunteer that area. I know hand in hand does, when you have your fundraising events, they have like a manager that's responsible for each of the areas, so that when a volunteer comes there, it's a person that's intimately knowledgeable of that one area and can point them into a direction, can kind of make sure that they know what they're doing and have it be a good experience for that person. And we've seen some of that work at the Ox Roast at Wimber and other places. So talk a little bit about that. And then, so really shorter defined times with people having activities like kids sports and that they may be able to be active for 2 to 4 hours here, but not on that day, that kind of thing. So how to make it so that it's more palatable to people who do it. And then also having people match together. Talk a little bit about cadet camp, dates of August 2nd and 3rd. And talk about transportation for Amish cadets. Ways that Amish cadets could get to the cadet camp. So that's a pretty good meeting. A lot of ideas, slowly moving forward.
Okay, thank you for that, Eric. Does anyone have questions for Eric on any of that? Okay, moving on into item C, calendar activities. Hutch, is there anything that the finances will probably come up here for too long?
The first quarterly contributions from the township were approved Monday night, so those checks are out, and if you haven't seen them yet, you should soon. The financial report, the summary financial report that we put together every year is supposed to be done by April 1st. At this point, we have 3 of the 4 reports from the fire companies. So we'll get the 4th, we'll put the summary together and get it out to everybody. And typically, please look at that at the May meeting. And that is things that are coming up on the calendar.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll go to new business. And we'll poll starting with the township.
Yeah, I think mainly the one thing that I wanted to mention, what we received word from contractor who's doing the project on Lincoln Highway Route 30 from 896 east to the township line, is going to start that project April 1. Start in the area of 896 and move east from there. The project goes all the way to the township line and beyond. The other things that are happening in East Lampeter at the intersection itself, the crosswalks are getting upgraded, so they'll look like the crosswalks that we now have at Oakview Road. And the signal equipment itself, that the signals aren't going to be on span wire anymore. They're going to be on actual poles and mast arms. And those mast arms will be decorative color like the ones that are in front of them. And then the rest of the project is essentially milling and paving the highway east.
And any estimate how long that might be lasting, that project from start to finish?
It won't be done till early next year would be my guess. There is one other aspect that for eastbound traffic, there will be a new advanced warning flasher as you approach Ronks Road. There'll be a flasher there to alert traffic they're approaching a signal. The culvert, yeah, that's not part of this project. That's if anybody has any questions about any projects you've heard about or activity in the township, happy to try to answer them. Appreciate everybody getting their fuel receipts in and filing the spill reports, and very helpful.
Okay, thanks, Hutch. Anybody else have anything for Hutch? If not, then we'll go to the fire companies. I think we use the alphabetical order, so I'll go first for Burton. I don't think I have just a whole lot to report, other than we did have our pot pie dinner, I think, since the last meeting. Had a very successful dinner, sold out, and I think it went pretty smooth. I don't know if Don can hear me or if he had anything. Don, is there anything you wanted to add on the firefighting side? might not be, I don't think he had anything that I'm aware of, so I think that's what Regine has. So, let's see, Lafayette.
Okay, yeah, the capital campaign, I'll report a little more on that. The meetings are being held monthly. Looking to go public with the campaign sometime this summer. Working to secure the support of local community members, both human resources and to help the campaign as well as financial commitments. We did have a meeting last night. I would say we had about 12 people in attendance and there was a lot of energy around that. So that's a good thing. Currently have approximately 10 to 12 members. And we're looking for a few more. High Associates is really assisting us at a high level at this process for the marketing resources and personnel. As far as reporting purchases that we would be looking at for this year, there's an addition to what was reported back in November. We're considering upgrading our portable radios. There's some good promotions that are running right now, trade-in deals. No decision has been made yet. And we'll be looking to pay for those radios out of the Relief Association funds. I'll talk about HR. We have a few new members. Currently, we're reviewing these and considering some changes to the onboarding and the application process. Our Floss Knot event, it was a successful event. This is currently, I think, the 5th year that we've had that. So we have enough of money that we're getting together quotes for a gear extractor. This is a turnout firefighter apparel gear extractor made for that. And we used the proceeds from this year and prior years. Those gear washers cost about $11,000. So anywhere from 11 to 20. We're looking at an $11,000. Camp Cadet, that was changed. Cadet Camp was changed to August 2nd and 3rd. That's due to the LPGA, the U.S. Women's Golf Classic that's being held at the Country Club. I know I was in part of a meeting today with that. I had to leave for a call, and Tara and Ralph were there for the entire time. It's a big deal. They're talking about bringing 100,000 people into the area and filling up all the hotels and what security might look like, and you know what the event itself might look like. So yeah, it was a good meeting for the part that I didn't get to attend. Upcoming events, we have a blood drive going on March 26th. Our chicken barbecue is April the 13th, the second Saturday in April, and our state cook-off event will be the June 7th and 8th. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, thank you guys. And we'll go to Ronks. Dave.
We have 3 things. First, our Paratech equipment is all in, and we are waiting on the training to be scheduled on that equipment before we put it in service. We're continuing to train our new members. We have 13 people in the hazardous materials operations class, and we'll be finishing that up next week. And at the March meeting, we established an apparatus committee to start researching what we want to do, because our engine is due for replacement in 2028. And with the lead time, now's the time we need to start if we would decide to purchase new due to the extended lead times.
Okay, thank you. Emergency management coordinator. I don't think, do we have any report from him? I'm sorry. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I shot April 9th, April 24th is the blood drive. April 27th is the Oxhurst, and we had a successful January Oxhurst. We sold out about all but 3,000 meals. That's all I got.
All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Yeah, now emergency management coordinator. Does anybody have a report from him? I do. Okay. All right, and then we will pull the citizens members. Maybe start up at this end. Chad, anything you want to? I don't have anything. Yeah, John.
I don't have anything on.
Eric.
With the chicken barbecue, you're going to be handing that out at the church, aren't you?
Well, the pre-sales will be at the church. So anybody who got online and did a pre-sale, will be picking up at the church, yes.
That avoids a little bit of congestion that was
Miller's church.
experienced last time. Good. Yeah, nothing other than that.
Okay. Stephanie, anything to add? Okay, all right. Melanie, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay, and it says citizen members, but I guess we should check with Roger too. Is Roger anything that, add to new business? Okay. All right, and we'll go to public comment. Is there any public comment? And I don't know, do you have the names? I didn't pull them at the beginning of their chat, but do you have names for the record? Do you need any names? Yeah. You got them all good there? Okay. All right, is there any other business to come before the meeting this evening?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to bring to everyone's attention, and some of you may know this that are on the firefighting side and some may not. There's new OSHA standards that are on the table right now. I attended 2 webinars this past week on them and how they will affect volunteer fire companies. And it's not good. There's no way that we'll be able to meet the stipulation or what they're trying to put out in front of us as far as the OSHA standards. It's about a 1,000-page document, but there's about 40 pages in there that deal with volunteer fire companies. And just on the reporting aspect of reporting to OSHA, they're probably looking at about $5,000 a year in being able to provide the proper reporting to make sure that you're compliant with the new proposed OSHA rules. So while Pennsylvania is not an OSHA state, they are an EPA state, and the EPA basically follows the OSHA, mirrors the OSHA standards. So I don't know where this is going yet, but from what I've learned, the reason that that OSHA is taking a look at this and proposing these new rules, and it says may, if, and shall in that 1,000-page document probably 400 times. And from what I understand, in June, that if this does get approved, that those words may and shall will be taken out, and it'll be like you comply. So it was put out that they're accepting feedback until May 1st. I haven't given any feedback yet, but I have the link to get feedback. From what I understand is the reason this is coming about is because there's too many firefighter fatalities in the United States. There's fire truck crashes happening all over the United States. We have a driver operator program. Why aren't the fire companies following the driver operator program? We have people going into burning buildings. The buildings are collapsing. Why is that happening? We have health and safety standards, 1501 firefighter physicals should be required every year according to the NFPA standard. OSHA says, why aren't they happening? We have gear restrictions, turnout gear, the firefighting ensemble that you wear, 10-year lifetime, 10-year lifespan from NFPA. So why do we wear gear that's older than 10 years old? Well, it's simple. We can't afford all these things. We can't afford firefighter physicals every year. And if some people might not pass the physicals. So when it comes to gear, yeah, we don't get that many working fires. Is it really destroyed after 10 years? Not really, but that's my viewpoint, okay? That's not OSHA's viewpoint. So OSHA is coming down and saying, why do we have so many firefighter fatalities when we have NFPA standards in place? Why aren't the fire companies following them? So this is going to put a hurting on any volunteer fire company the way I see it. So that'll be my view. That'll be my feedback.
Does OSHA have a plan to replace the volunteer fire service if they drive them out of business with all the other, by adding on to all the other regulations, red tape, hardships, and yeah, what have you?
I understand what you're saying. There is an argument. Yes. There is an argument there. And, you know, when it comes down to it, the state versus OSHA, you know, the state is not going to put 800 volunteer fire companies out of business and not have any fire protection, or they're not going to mandate that municipal. But this is the fight that just started, and I get it from both sides. So my feedback through the link on May 1st, and I can send the chiefs the link.
It might be a good idea. Could you send that out to maybe everybody on the ESC?
Send it
Do
to
you mind sending it to everybody that's on the?
everybody on ESC. Sure.
And the chiefs, if that doesn't include all the chiefs, but
Yes.
yes, Jason.
I'll just add to that because just to the election today with Kevin Chambers, who's the area director of this area. He did not want to address that whatsoever, just from the standpoint of there's way too many unknowns right now. Can tell you that, you know, historically been some, I'll say this is highly controversial because there is a number of organizations within the volunteer fire service and the professional fire service that are voicing their opinions on this issue. And to get online, as Jake suggested, and write comments, because in that rulemaking process, they are required to address legitimate concerns from credible sources in that process. Doesn't mean we're going to get the outcome we want, but then at least we have a say in that matter going forward. So where it goes, my experience, I mean, this is my wheelhouse, my day-to-day job. I would suspect this probably not going to go into effect right away because of the amount of controversy surrounding it, but I have, it might be 5-10 years down the road that we will sit in some capacity, but we have a point now that it's time to make your voice heard so that there can be changes to.
Are there any organizations that are looking at it and highlighting and redlining different things that are in the?
Yes, so the National Volunteer Fire Council, they're the ones that sat there with the highlighter and picked out everything that applies to the volunteers. And that's where they pared down the 1,000-page document down to 40 pages. And I can send the 40 pages out. I can send the 1,000 pages out too, but.
How about some of our legislators? What are they? Are they being staffed? Specifically the federal.
My guess is they're probably not only just now getting word of it, just knowing how that process works. And then the tricky part here becomes, of course, we don't have a state-run OSHA program. We have a federal OSHA program. So PA falls into the federal. The problem with that becomes municipal government employees are exempt from private fire. So they're going to approach this a little bit differently. From that aspect. Now, where their jurisdiction is going to lie, because I haven't through that, Dave did forward to me. I haven't had a chance to read through it yet and digest it to see what we will fall under that updated standard.
Yeah, well,
You're not employees at all.
No.
yeah, so
And next mission probably bigger for jurisdiction. So I want to digest that and I'll see if I can do that for the next meeting. Kind of have an update.
thanks for bringing it to our attention. I mean, I think we definitely need to check it out. Nothing surprises me anymore.
I'll send it out.
Another typical
I don't think it's going to succeed. I think it has to be fought at the legislative level. But
typically these
it
things,
exists.
yeah, typically they get put into practice and then people ignore it for a long time and then eventually they start to enforce some of it and then they change it and they make it more draconian than it was to begin with. And at the end, you know, anyway, that's my 2 cents. I think you guys all know where I stand with that, but I won't elaborate any further, but it is what it is. We just have to deal with it. So anybody else have any feedback on their comments? If not, is there any other business to come before the body?
Just one other thing that has to do with the VFRA, the Volunteer Firemen's Relief Association. So historically, there's some changes happening there also. I was in the PA Firemen this month where they had like 15 changes that they would like to see move forward with. So that's under proposal or for discussion right now. And one of those is that our allotment that we get once a year, basically we would be tasked with purchasing supplemental insurance with a portion of that or all of it for our members. Whether that's accidental death and dismemberment, but they are talking about upping the allotment because they know a lot of volunteer fire companies use those funds for purchasing equipment. So if they take away that funding that's used for equipment and task the volunteers with having to buy insurance that the total allotment needs to go up. So they're saying that they have the money there in order to make an increase. It's all a proposal. So that's before us.
Okay. Appreciate that. Any other discussion for this evening? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Dave, second by Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Where do you live at? Yeah,
I live on Pine Drive,
right, okay.
to live on, I've lived in East Lampeter Township my whole life. I used to live on, Hartman Station Road,
Know where that is?
lived on Creek Hill Road.
So you're actually in this area?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.